CEO of William Joseph Communications, Ryan Townend, joins us for another edition of ADvice. And this time we're talking about color, because color is incredibly impactful when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, color has a very big role in all of our lives, and it has, when you start looking at the psychology of color, different colors mean different things to different people. So when you think of colors like blue, it's a very calming color, but blue is also typically known for attributes such as credibility. So you see blue a lot in banks.
Okay, what about red, for instance?
Red is an energy color, so when you're trying to reflect that sort of fire and passion, you'll see red. So, you know, I think the thing that's really important is in marketing and branding, you really have to be cognizant of what that color means to your audience. But there's factors that are really involved when you start determining, you know, what colors to use in your branding.
Okay, so marketers can really help you with that in determining what colors are best for you.
Yeah, because you personally are going to have an opinion, but let's talk about like culture. So depending on your cultural background, different colors mean different things. So in certain cultures, like white is used for weddings and black is used for funerals. But in other cultures, that might be red, or, you know, depending on what your background is in.
Okay, and you brought a couple of examples to show off what you're talking about here, too.
Yeah, well, we'll keep running through them. So another factor that you have to look at with color is the imagery. So for example, different imagery evokes different emotions. So if you look at the color of brown and you see a picture of a chocolate bar with a hue of brown in it, and then you look at maybe like a swatch of leather with the same brown, even though they're the same color, they're going to evoke different emotions.
That makes sense.
Context, right? It's the context of the imagery.
What about the one that we're looking at there?
Okay, so gender. So I think it was about in the 1900s, mid-1900s, color was actually very gender neutral, and it was only at that time that there started to become a bias for men and women towards certain colors. And actually, if you do your history way back, pink was more for boys and blue was for girls. So
and purple was regal because it was so expensive to afford the ink that only the extremely wealthy could afford purple clothing.
Very regal. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, you know, I think when you're looking at you have to understand which gender your brand is speaking to, and to determine really kind of which colors are going where. When you look at age plays a big factor. So kids love primary colors, bright colors, yellows and reds. But as you age, those colors become less credible, and you move more into the blues and the royal purples.
And the smart colors, and so to speak, where sometimes it's pastel depending on what you're going for, sometimes it's more muted out.
Yeah, so really, you know, I think the thing is color is something that's very personal. It dictates our wardrobes, it dictates our houses, the cars that we buy, so it has an impact in your life. So we as marketers have to be very cognizant of who our target audiences are and which types of colors are going to resonate with them.
Now, I want to jump back to something you mentioned briefly there. You talked about how genders and determining what your market is for when it comes to gender.
Yes.
Is that to say that there are colors that genders prefer?
Yeah, and you know what, so again, you're going to have to run it through different cultures, but you know, blue is a color that is very highly rated by both men and women in our culture, yet purple is really high for women, where it hardly makes the rank for men.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are there any other insights on color that I want to know about?
Well, I think, as we said, blue's a very credible color, and you can see that's the anchor of William Joseph and our ADvice segment.
Yes, and also credibility.
Very credible.
Look at, I love it. We've learned a lot. It's ADvice with William Joseph. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.